Hello and good morning, Blue Jays fans. Welcome to Jay's Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden. We're going to talk all things World Series Game 1 with the Toronto Blue Jays this morning. And holy trade day. The Blue Jays will be facing the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first game of the World Series this evening at 8 o'clock. Obviously, there'll be plenty of pregame and whatever coverage. You'll be able to find anything you want, including a live performance from me and my friends on the Jaybird Watching podcast starting at 6 p.m. tonight with Bob File, former Blue Jays reliever. We're going to have a lot of good times talking to Blue Jays fans before the game at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to be mostly talking right off of the bat about the young phenom that is Trey Yesavage. Yesavage is just phenom, doesn't barely even scratch the surface. I've had the most pleasure of watching him all the way from the lowest of the low this season, literally being drafted last year, first round, 20th pick overall by the Toronto Blue Jays, and jumping into his first pro debut. This man's highlight reel for this season is honestly some careers. That's how crazy good it has been. Very, very fine, tight window, but he has been nothing short of phenomenal. And he is going to get the ball here in game 1. And I really do think that this decision is actually just more to screw with the Dodgers than it is to, do anything else. It will be nice perk that Kevin Gausman is probably likely going to get an extra day's rest here to be able to make up for that bullpen session that he had the other day, which was actually on the day he normally throws his bullpen. So I do think that this is just to give him an extra day's rest. Everybody's banged up, all those wonderful things. Trey is fresh, being the youngster in the room, and he is ready to go. The kid's incredible, wonderful. He's at least saying the right things, so hopefully everything in the inside his brain is in the same mantra, because he has been fun to watch. 2-1 record so far this postseason after making his major league debut on September 15th. Yeah, it's like literally been a month, people. just saying. So on that note, we all know that his Major League Baseball debut was what it was. His postseason debut against the New York Yankees was a 5 1/3 no-hit masterpiece. He did have a little bit of a rough outing in his second outing against the Seattle Mariners. But the second outing against the Mariners in the American League Championship Series was nothing short of a masterpiece as well. Working in and out of trouble, 5 2/3 of innings, 87 pitches, while striking out 7. So that's the beautiful thing that Trey possesses, that it's just hard to teach. If you have raw stuff like he does in that weird arm angle, it does put hitters on their toes, and it will be hard to hit. So the Blue Jays do have their, I'll say, de facto new up-and-coming ace on the mound tonight against the LA Dodgers. We'll talk about who he is facing here near the end of this episode, and we'll talk all things there. So the biggest news piece that is still completely up in the air, party people, is what in the world is going on with Bo Bichette. Because Bo Bichette sounds like Bo Bichette's going to play. He has been interviewing, and he's been more or less summing it down to this: I am good for whatever John Schneider has planned for me. And I do think that there is a wonderful piece where he can be that next postseason hero with his bat in this game. The question is, where is he going to play if he makes the roster? I think it might be second base. I don't think that they're just showing him there at warm-ups and things like that to continue doing that. I do think that there is something to that noise that the Toronto Blue Jays will be playing him at second base just to get his bat in the lineup. I think they're worried about moving George Springer from the DH spot, which rightfully so. He's banged up too, literally. Although, apparently certain home runs can heal all, because it didn't look like the knee was bothering him for at least a trip around the bases. Still one of the biggest home runs in Blue Jays history. And I do think that he's going to be that way. I really do. I think he's going to be in there one way or the other. I think that will ease his abilities at second base versus having to play the just the craziness that is playing the other side of the keystone at shortstop for Major League Baseball game, but I do like the idea that Bo is going to be able to hit. And when he's returned from injuries, I've been trying to find stats on this, but I recall him coming back and hitting home runs, hitting doubles, hitting all these wonderful things. So the lumber works. Bo Bichette is just so good at making good contact, and that's what we need. We need to keep doing what we've been doing all season long. Put the ball in play, don't strike out, keep the next man up going. So there is that. Um, if Bo goes, this roster looks slightly different, and the question is, who's gonna be the one that makes room for the spot? My guess is it's Joey Loperfido, which I do think having a lefty like him off the bench is still very key and critical. Do they hold on to Bo and lose a pitcher in the bullpen? Like, does this spell the end of the season for Brandon Little? Something like that to be able to make a roster spot, as the Blue Jays can't add any more pitchers. They had the full 13 that you could have previously in the last round. So unless they are trying to turn around and figure out ways to add Jose Barrios, which the news on Barrios has been really quiet. So I assume that means that he's done for the season. Literally the first time he's been injured in his career, at least on the IL anyways. I know he's been hurt because everybody just battles through things, especially with a 162 plus game season. It is what it is, but those roster decisions do loom based on the final decision of what is going to happen with Bo Bichette. We hopefully will be finding that out this afternoon right before the game, and we'll be able to talk about that on our Jaybird Watching podcast pregame show. So all that kind of good fun stuff. That is what it is. But tonight, like I mentioned, Trey Savage is on the bump. So happy Trey Day. He will be facing Blake Snell. So if you're wondering and you haven't seen why that name sounds familiar, it's because this gentleman used to play for the Tampa Bay Rays and mowed through the old Blue Jay lineups. His stats against the Toronto Blue Jays over the years have been very, silencing. He's looking forward to pitching against the Blue Jays. From the interviews yesterday, he hasn't said he's literally not pitched in that ballpark in years. So this is honestly very eerily similar to what the Blue Jays are, doing to the Dodgers with putting Trey Savage out there. Blake Snell's always performed well in the Rogers Skydome, and it's just not going to be an easy time. The pitching is what beat the Milwaukee Brewers from the LA Dodgers. And the LA Dodgers took down at that time the best team in baseball. The best record in all the Major League Baseball this year was the Milwaukee Brewers. And the LA Dodgers swept them. Do I think that's going to happen here? No, because the Blue Jays have been the best offense in all of the postseason. Most runs, most batting average, least strikeouts. Pick it. We're leading those topics. So I do think that the right things are there. I think the right things are in place. You have the embodiment of what this team's mentality is with George Springer coming back from the dead from last season in the last place of American League East to literally getting banged up on the knee and staying in there and grinding it out and hitting a 3-run home run. That is what this Toronto Blue Jays team can do to you. One of the articles I wrote that is also on our Jaybird Watching podcast website, I'm going to end with this note for all of you. I think these are the phrases that summarize the Toronto Blue Jays. From doubt to destiny, 4 more victories, 1 game at a time. The next man up is ready. Let's go, Blue Jays. We want it all. Party on, people, and we'll see you tonight. Cheers.